Rob, you were at the Portugal-Morocco game, if I'm not mistaken. What was that like? Because I've heard that it was practically a Moroccan home game. I mean, the stadium was just 98% Morocco fans, correct?
It was, and it's amazing that I can even hear you now, given that they just didn't stop whistling for 90 minutes. So it took me a while to get my hearing back. The atmosphere was incredible. The minute that the Portuguese players touched the ball, it was these loud, deafening whistles. So much so that there was a guy sat, literally a couple of feet next to me, and we couldn't hear what each other were saying. It was just like a home game. It's a bit of a weird World Cup in that groups of fans who would usually travel to World Cups haven't. Obviously, Morocco have come in their absolute thousands, and they will make that semi-final feel like a home game as well. And again, I don't really want to sort of put too much emphasis on an atmosphere because these are professional players and they've dealt with these atmospheres in the past, and particularly someone like Cristiano Ronaldo who's seen it all before. But he did get the feeling that the atmosphere in the stadium did give Morocco a little edge, and it was interesting that they brought their goalkeeper, the man of the match, Bono, out for a press conference afterwards, and the first thing he said was that it was down to the fans, that the fans had sort of roared them over the line, and particularly right at the end when you're defending with your lives, Portugal are trying to find an equaliser. It did feel like that there was a little bit of an advantage there, an edge there. And if that carries on, if you get those Moroccan fans into the stadium against France, it's going to be absolutely wild.
Yeah, it is. Well, now that we're there, now that we're on Portugal, let's stay there, shall we? Because obviously you were at the game today, Rob. Gabby's a Portuguese fan. And we're going to just take a look at some of the reaction that's been coming out afterwards. And I think, I'm seeing this even more now because Messi scored in the knockout round. Because remember, he hadn't either coming into this tournament. You feel as though the vultures were waiting to come out and wait for it to just be Cristiano Ronaldo. Anyway, it says Cristiano Ronaldo in World Cup knockout football, 8 games, 9 hours, 30 minutes of play, 27 shots and 0 goals. Do you think that it's fair to bring this up, Gab? Actually, we'll get to that in a minute because this is something that you spotted for us right afterwards. Cristiano Ronaldo's partner, Georgina, saying, today your friend and coach made the wrong decision. That friend that you have such admiration and respect towards. The same person that when he put you in the game, he saw how it changed entirely, but it was too late. You cannot underestimate the best player in the world, your greatest weapon. You also can't stick up for someone who doesn't deserve it. Life gives us lessons. Today we didn't lose, we learned. What was your reaction to it, Gabby, when you saw this?
My reaction was, I think, similar to a lot of Portuguese fans. It's just something that you don't want to see. It's something that you don't want to read after being knocked out of the World Cup. I think, obviously, Georgina, is her own person. She can post whatever it is that she likes. But as a partner to a player at the magnitude of Cristiano Ronaldo, what she says does become a reflection of perhaps how Cristiano Ronaldo is feeling. And that's just not the kind of statement that you want even associated with your captain. I think hindsight is 2020 vision. Fernando Santos, in my opinion, made the correct decision in repeating the starting 11 that we saw against Switzerland. I genuinely don't know a manager who, after seeing a dominant performance like the one that we saw against Switzerland, would say to himself, oh, we're going to be playing a defensive team similar to Switzerland in Morocco. I'm going to change everything because what I saw was just perfect, but I'm going to change it anyway. That's just not the case. Fernando Santos went with what worked. I think it was the correct decision. I think after the first half that he saw that things weren't, we didn't have the pace or the mobility that we did against Switzerland. He made the necessary changes. He brought on Cristiano Ronaldo at minute 50 along with João Cancelo to give them that spark. He then brought on Rafael Leão and made other changes. Vitinha came on as well to continue to adjust. We did see a stronger second half from Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo. There were the opportunities there. And like Rob said, happened to England. It just wasn't Portugal's day. But Luis Figo also came out, obviously a Portuguese legend. You never like to hear him criticize Fernando Santos. And he came out, similar sentiments as Georgina. You can't win a football World Cup with Ronaldo on the bench. All right, you won against Switzerland, great result, but you can't do this but can you do this every game? He says, no, leaving Ronaldo out was a mistake. This loss is on the team management and the manager. I say this with the utmost respect for Luis Figo, a player that I grew up watching and admire. Where were you when we won 6-1 with the same starting 11? You didn't have the same feelings. And so hindsight, it's 2020. I'm over
It's interesting, isn't it? And Rob, I want to get your take on this. Obviously, up on the scene in Manchester, so you're following the Cristiano Ronaldo story a lot of the time, and sometimes it's always seems to be drama, whether it's coming from the media, interviews, management, players. And now Piers Morgan has obviously been quite active on Twitter during this time, and he said, very sad to see Cristiano in tears as his dream of winning the World Cup ended. Those mocking him should remember what he's done for football. For me, he's the GOAT and a great guy who's had the toughest year of his life on and off the pitch. He's earned our respect. Now, he's absolutely earned our respect. And of course, he has had a really tough year, especially personally, overall when it comes to professionally. And I suppose when you look at it that way, it's not going to be taken too much what Piers Morgan says. People don't care too much what he has to say about it. But if you were to look back on this World Cup and you pick out the story of Ronaldo's World Cup for you, Rob, where would you go with that?
I mean, it's difficult because, you know, I'm loath to agree with Piers Morgan, but it has been a particularly tough year for Cristiano Ronaldo, particularly off the field. I mean, I can't even imagine what he's had to go through off the field. On the field as well, you know, you've got a guy who is used to being the best game after game, and he's having to learn that, you know, sometimes your talents diminish, particularly at 37 years old, and it's how you manage that and how you respond to that. I mean, in terms of this World Cup, he's obviously scored his goal and became the first male player to score in 5 World Cups. Obviously, it's something that he'll treasure. I think he probably thought at one stage during this World Cup that there was a possibility that he may go on to win it. I think it's a little bit of a sad way for him to bow out, you know, against Morocco, having come on as a substitute. But again, I agree with Gabby that the big decision that Fernando Santos had to make was dropping him for Switzerland, not dropping him today. You know, after you beat Switzerland 6-1 without Ronaldo, then there's no question at all that he should start on the bench today. I thought he brought him on at the right time. He gave him plenty of opportunities to change the game. He had his one chance. It didn't go his way. Again, it's one of those things. Would I have liked to see Ronaldo bow out with the World Cup lifted up above his head? Yeah, of course. I think maybe this last World Cup came a little bit too late for him. You know, you were talking about Lionel Messi, who's a little bit younger, who is still in control of a lot of his talents and the way that he plays. I just think that maybe this World Cup was maybe one step too far for Cristiano Ronaldo, given what's happened for him at Manchester United. And you know, hopefully, you know, we can look back in a few years and really, you know, understand and appreciate and respect his career, because, you know, like Piers Morgan said, there's going to be an awful lot said and written about him the next couple of weeks and days.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.